Hi everyone, welcome back to the Fall Garden Series. I've had lots of questions on how to grow carrots lately. So today's video is all about how to grow carrots in a 5-gallon container. Now, if you've never grown your own fresh, tasty carrots, you're going to absolutely love them. They're so much more flavorful and so much sweeter when you grow your own. But before we jump into carrots, I wanted to show you a little look at the garden bed we planted on the first video. We planted some root crops and some greens. It's right behind Mac there. So let's head over there and take a look. If you're not sure what a fall garden is or how to get one started, go back and watch the first video in the Fall Garden series so you have all the details. But a great way to start is with greens and radishes, really easy, cool weather vegetables to grow in the fall. And here we have some of the red mustard greens and the radishes already popping up. So red mustard greens are right in there. We've had a couple weeks of temperatures in the 80s, which has definitely helped. The radishes are right there. Now, just so you know, if your radishes are not bulbing up, but you're getting more leafy greens on top, usually means either the soil temperature is too hot or the air temperature is too hot. Just try planting another wave as the weather cools off. So exciting to see these popping up, but for now, we're gonna head down below and get some carrots planted in a container. Carrots are a really fun vegetable to have in your fall garden. They love the cool fall temperatures. Under 75 or 80 degrees is best for carrots. The cool thing is they'll even take a light frost. In fact, cold weather actually makes them sweeter. So you want to time your planting of carrots about 8 to 10 weeks before your first frost date in the fall, mid to late summer. If you missed your window of opportunity right now, no worries. Get them planted in the spring. Plan to plant seeds about 3 to 5 weeks before your last frost date in the spring. That way you have time to harvest them before the weather gets too hot. Now, one thing about carrots is I didn't ever have a lot of success planting them right in the ground. So what I like to do is plant seeds in containers. The reason for that is an in-ground garden might have a lot of rocks, a lot of roots, and then those carrots run into those obstructions and they grow funny and misshapen. I'm sure we've all done that. So containers has worked really well for me in the past. You guys know I love planting in smart pots. These are fabric containers, super durable, aerated fabric, really gives some nice air to the roots of the carrots. And I've had really great luck with it. When you're choosing a container for your carrots, you want to choose one that's a little bit taller than the variety of carrots that you're growing. So we're growing red core Chantenay carrots from the Fall Garden Seed Collection. These are a beautiful carrot, kind of a lighter orange color with a beautiful red core, and they grow to about 4 to 6 inches long. So the Calikim 5-gallon smart pots is about 9 inches high, so it's a perfect height for growing these carrots. Now, what I've done in the smart pots is I've filled it with some Good Dirt potting mix. You do want to use a nice loose soil, a really good high quality organic potting mix, which Good Dirt is. And then I've put it here, I've put a drip irrigation hose because we'll talk a little bit more about watering carrots in just a moment. But so what I'm going to do is just sprinkle the carrots on the top of the soil. I mean, you really can't go wrong with planting carrots. Super, super easy, and an especially fun project to do with kids. They always love pulling carrots out of the soil. So I'd really recommend getting your own little container for kids to grow. And I do have also a kids seed collection over on my website, along with a really cute little purple mini raised bed, and kids really enjoy growing in them. So I'm just going to grab a little pinch of carrots between my fingers, and I'm going to try and sprinkle the seeds about 1 inch or so apart, but no worries if you get them a little bit too close together. And we can go in and thin them out later as they grow. We'll talk more about that in just a moment. But carrots like to grow in full sun, like I mentioned, cooler temperatures between 75 and 80. Now, if you're growing in an area where it's still kind of warm, like it is here in California, you can grow them in a partially shaded area and then also cover them with shade cloth to help keep them a little bit cooler. So I'm just sprinkling my carrots along the drip irrigation hose here. And it's going to be so much fun to watch these carrots grow. Now, because carrot seeds are so tiny, you don't want to cover them up with a lot of soil. I'm just going to barely cover them with a little sprinkle of extra soil. And just so you know too, carrots don't do well when you transplant them. They really don't do well when you start them indoors. It's best if you just direct seed them right in your container. They don't like their roots disturbed, and they're fairly easy to grow from seed, especially in a container. If you've had a hard time getting carrot seeds to germinate in the past, the reason why might be because you let the soil dry out. carrots need moisture to germinate. So it's super critical. Keep the soil moist. You know that kind of light brown, kind of hard crust that forms when your containers dry out too much? Don't let that happen. Mist them lightly with water each day. Water them lightly with your watering can. And a little trick, you guys, I like to cover my containers with a piece of shade cloth, especially while they're germinating, or a piece of burlap, just to keep the moisture in. So very, very critical to carrot germination. So besides using a piece of shade cloth or a piece of burlap to cover your carrots to keep the moisture in, you also are going to need some patience when growing your carrots. The seeds can take about 2 to 3 weeks to germinate, so make sure if you're growing with your kids, you can teach them that it's a good lesson in patience. So just hang in there, they will germinate, keep the soil nice and moist, and you're going to be so excited to see those little carrot seedlings poking through the soil in no time. Now, once your carrots do grow here, they're going to form a little nice green carpet, and they might be a little bit too close together because the seeds are so tiny. Sometimes you drop a few extra in there. No big deal. A really important thing to note, when you're growing carrots, you need to go in there and thin them when they're about 1 inch tall. I did a video in last year's Fall Garden series. I'll put a link to that so you can know exactly what to do. Basically, you want to take a small little pair of scissors and thin them to about 2 to 3 inches apart. You don't want to just pull out the little seedlings because you'll disturb the roots of the other carrots that you want to grow. Thinning is a great idea because the carrots need some room for the roots to grow, and it's really easy to do too. As far as fertilizing your carrots, you want to avoid a high nitrogen fertilizer for carrots because then they tend to grow a lot of leafy growth up top and not grow as many roots. So I really like to fertilize with Vermistera worm tea. It has a low nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, but it gives that slow and steady growth to the carrots that they need so that you can grow a lot of carrots in your container. And you want to start fertilizing your carrots when they're about 2 to 3 inches tall to really encourage that root development. And in containers, I would use worm tea on my containers about every 2 weeks or so. Now, if you're a little late on planting your carrots this year, what you can do is look for some shorter varieties of carrots to grow. The red coarse chantenay that I planted here are a nice shorter variety, mature in about 60 to 75 days. When you're looking to harvest your carrots, you can really harvest them at any stage, but the smaller, the sweeter. You want them to be about the width of your finger or so, and what you can do is just kind of stick your finger down here in the soil, feel your carrots, feel how round they are, and then pick a test carrot or two to see if they're the size that you like them. Now, when you're growing them in the spring, you do want to harvest them before the hot weather hits of the summer because they tend to grow kind of fibrous and not be quite as tasty during the hot weather. And a fun little tip here, you can also eat the carrot greens. They're super, super tasty. I love throwing them in a salad, and you're going to love the zippy flavor that they have. Another little note on carrots too is I would highly recommend planting carrots in waves, which is another term for succession planting. So you can plant carrots every 3 to 4 weeks. That way you don't have a ton of carrots all at once, and you can kind of spread your harvest out. Now, I've already set up my little mini purple raised bed here for succession planting in about a month or so. And grab yourself the Kids Garden Seed Collection. Give them one of these fun little purple mini smart pots. There's carrots in here. They're going to absolutely love growing their own carrots. Let me know if you're joining me in growing a fall garden, if you're going to be growing carrots or any of the other vegetables we talked about in the first video, and head over to CallieKimGardenandHome.com. Grab yourself a fall garden seed collection, a kids garden seed collection, some smart pots to grow in, and a copy of my book, Organic Gardening for Everyone. I am running a sale this weekend, 20% off with the code CARROT over at CallieKimGardenandHome.com, and you can save an additional $5 when you purchase the Fall Garden Seed Book Bundle. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next video.